phenomenal job with the stadium.
Yep.
He said, look, I get it. They haven't put a lot of money into their players. Mm-hmm. But the stadium was supposed to be $150 million. It's now $250 million.
Yep.
It's all his money, or all their money.
Yeah.
And on top of that, they're building a $30 million training facility.
Yeah.
So he's put probably at the end of the day, it's going to be $300 million into this team.
Yeah, the $100 million franchise fee as well.
Exactly.
Yep, that's right.
$100 million franchise fee. And so at the end of the day, it's probably going to hit $400 million.
Yep.
Of basically his money. Mm-hmm. And he said, and Twellman made the point, look, Atlanta didn't do that.
No.
Arthur Blank, I was trying to research this, and I put some notes down. So the stadium, Mercedes-Benz ended up being $1.6 billion. It was supposed to be $1.1.
Yeah.
And there's no evidence that Blank put any of his money into it. It was $1.1 million was financed, or $1.1 billion was financed
through the,
but it's going to be paid through
the city
suites and
yeah.
And so then $600 million was basically on the backs of the taxpayers. Mm-hmm. So yeah, they were able to build a team because he didn't put any money into it.
Well, and that's I think what he's going to do now is you're going to build a stadium, right? You're going to sell it out for the next couple years, and then you're going to be able to expand your roster.
Exactly.
I mean, that'll be the deal. You're going to use that money that you have, and you're going to expand your roster.
Right. So, I think that's a cool point that Taylor Taylor made. And then on top of that, he also made another point that, and maybe he was making a dig at DC United, but DC United's opening Audi Field in July or August, I think it is, which I'm going to go to. Pretty excited to just do that. But it looks nothing like the renderings. So he was pointing out, look, not only did McGuire put all of this money into it,
yeah,
he actually is opening the stadium that looks exactly like the rendering.
Yeah.
And that never happens.
No, it never does.
Honestly, the only difference, it's not entirely like the renderings. Because the rendering initially was the entire stadium was covered.
Yep.
And now the north end is going to be open.
Open, yeah.
But, whatever. Screw the people.
I will say, the lighting package on this thing, because my company, I'm not going to say who I work for, but we actually did some pre-work on the lighting for the stadium. We actually got to look at the plans and kind of put together a budget on the lighting. The lighting on the stadium is like top-notch, state-of-the-art shit. I mean, color changing. I mean, I don't know how many different color schemes you could have, because I didn't get into the details that much. But it was state-of-the-art and very expensive.
Well, and I was reading, and maybe it was an article attached to Taylor's post, I read too much, that it's the first stadium in the world to use this technology.
Yes, that's right.
And so it's going to look, it's interesting because it's supposed to look a lot like Allianz Arena in Munich, but it's actually better than what Allianz Arena has.
Yep.
So it's going to be really cool. I'm really excited to see it.
I think everybody's excited to get out there. Let's take a short break, guys, grab another round of beers, and then come back and talk about the next game coming up against KC. Welcome back, everybody. Back at the Lunacy Podcast. Had to get a break, get a couple beers. Dave and Dave, what are you drinking?
So, I have the Summer Vice, which is a Hefeweizen.
Good.
It's really good. I don't know that I'd put it on the Hacker Shore Hefeweizen.
Good for Minnesota, though.
It's a fantastic Hefeweizen for the States.
Yes, okay.
I would highly recommend it.
Mm-hmm. Dave, what are you drinking?
I'm drinking the Descent. It's a stout, I guess technically a dark ale. I really like it. It's the first time I've tried it. I'm usually a fan of stouts or dark ales like this one. And I like it.
I went with the size 4, which is an India Session Ale, which is fantastic.
So what do you think separates it? What makes it a session ale? I mean, I know what it makes a session ale.
Well, it's lower.
What makes it different from the
lower? It's lower alcohol content.
Okay.
A little less hop. It's got some hops to it, but not as much hops.
So is it more like a pale?
Yeah, but
maybe extra pale.
Yeah, something like that. Yeah, but it's the thing is it's what I call a crusher, which means that you can have a lot of these and be completely fine.
See that, not to take away from Steel Toe, but Surly's Extra Citra,
yes,
is what I consider a crusher.
Yeah,
it's got a good hop level, but you could just.
This is what I mean. Pretty much, this is what this is. This is like a extra Citra pale. That's what it is. So let's get back into it, guys. Let's talk a little bit about the World Cup. I was going to say we're going to talk about the game coming up against KC. We already kind of talked about that. Playing tomorrow at 1 o'clock here at TCF Bank Stadium. But let's get into the World Cup a little bit. So we talked a little bit previously about the odds. We talked about that sheet that Johnny had sent us saying Germany had the best odds to win it. Also that Italy had 1.6, which is not possible because they're not in the damn thing.
They were the last one, too.
Last one.
On the list?
No, they were like in the middle of the list.
Oh, they were in the middle.
Yeah, they think they were like 10 down.
I guess I didn't open the image. I just looked at the...
Because it's a glaring mistake. Yeah. If whoever that investment bank had put together, I can't remember the name of it was, I wouldn't go for them for banking now because that's a glaring mistake. You know? So Dave's got the odds up here off of Bovada. And so who's number one, Dave?
Germany, as you said.
Germany is
number one.
Going off at what?
Actually, they're co-favorites with Brazil.
Brazil, okay.
So they're both at plus 450, meaning if you bet $100, you'd win 450.
Okay.
Which is the best odds.
Okay.
And they're followed by, Spain, France. They're kind of the second-tier favorites, at plus 600, plus 700, respectively. Mm-hmm. And then it starts to drop off a little bit from there, because then you go Argentina and Belgium, good teams. But they're getting in that plus 900, plus 1100 range, and then from there, there's another drop off, and then it's the England, Portugal's, Uruguay's, Croatia's of the world. So
Mexico, where's Mexico?
Mexico is actually, to me, I kind of like that. If you want a value bet, you're at plus 8,000.
Holy
meaning
shit!
If you bet $100, you'd win $8,000. So I kind of like that as a value bet.
So I bet $10, I win 800.
Correct.
So if I put a $20 bet on Switzerland, what are my odds?
Let's see. What's Switzerland? Let me find. They're probably in that Mexico range somewhere. Switzerland is plus 10,000. Oh. So if you put $20 down, you'd win 5,000.
Wow,
math right?
That's worth it.
You can put some advertising into this podcast.
No, I'm sorry. It's easy math. It's $2,000.
Oh, yeah. You still put
I was
advertising.
going to say 10.
Math.
Minnesota math. Sorry.
On the spot.
Still, that's a pretty good return.
So of course a lot of people are picking Germany.
Of course.
Because they're the reigning champions. And the group, this year, I'm not, Brazil's up there. But after Brazil and Germany, I'm just not hearing a lot about other teams, Yeah. Those two, that's it.
And then the third favorite is Spain, but I'm a little worried about Spain. Obviously in 2010, they shut everybody down and won handedly, but what about 2014? Mm-hmm. They had a terrible World Cup, so I'm a little worried about Spain, even though they're a fairly heavy favorite.
Yeah. I don't think I would pick them as a...
No.
I think they only,
top five.
Like Spain, like Germany, I think, didn't lose during qualifying. Maybe they lost their first. No, I don't think they did. I think they're one of those. They're
one of the teams that didn't?
Yeah. Okay. And if they did, they only maybe lost one. I think it's close.
Well, for me, I don't know. I guess for me, it's like all I hear about is Brazil and Germany. So those are the two I have to kind of go with. Right. I'm not going Germany because I don't like Germany. I'm going to go with Brazil.
I still think Belgium's got a solid chance. What are their odds?
They're plus 1,100. They're the sixth favorite in that order, so they're way up there.
And France has a super talented squad too. But on paper, I think Belgium and France are way better than Spain.
Yeah,
it's interesting that their odds are so high.
I feel bad for England. I do because they have some great young players. Mm-hmm. But it's like you can't put it together in the World Cup.
So there was an interview with Rio Ferdinand. I don't remember who did it. It was just in the last couple days.
Yeah.
He said that he was part of that golden generation.
Sure.
And he said that what he thought was the reason that golden generation didn't win a World Cup was because the rivalries within England make it too difficult for players to actually play with each other.
Really?
And what I thought was interesting is that Frank Lampard had a similar interview with, I think it was earlier in the week, and he said almost the exact same thing. So to me, that says, okay, you have two of those players from the exact same generation was on that exact team that should have on paper blown everyone away.
Yep.
Saying, look, the rivalries within the Premier League ruin the national team. And so I think maybe there's something to that.
Well, let's look into that a little bit. I mean, Premier League. So your thought. I mean, Premier League is the upper echelon of the soccer leagues in the world. I mean, you can make an argument they are the top league in the world. Okay, so saying that the rivalries between those guys because they're playing those teams cause them not to play good in the World Cup is interesting because you look at a team like France. Well, France's league, not as competitive as England's league. Germany's league, competitive, but not to the standards of the Premier League.
Right.
Italy's league, Serie A, not as competitive as, the English team. So I guess what you're saying could be right. And then you look at like Brazil. I mean, their league, half their top players don't even play in Brazil's leagues.
They're all in Europe.
They're all in Europe.
And that's the thing. You don't see English players outside of England. I mean, I'm sure there are.
Yeah.
I mean, David Beckham was in Spain for a while. And
Who
in the U.S.
Who came to the? Who's
Frank Lampard was in the U.S.
But now there's what's his name is coming too. From England. Who is it? What's the guy's name? The bald guy. Can't think of his name. He's coming to the U.S.
An England player that's bald.
No, he's not bald anymore.
He's not.
Get some nice hair replacements.
Oh, Rooney. You're talking
Rooney.
The hair plug.
Hair plug. Yeah.
And
Rooney.
Manchester.
Yeah. He's coming to the U.S.
Yeah, and actually, part of the golden generation, Ashley Cole, plays in L.A.
Yeah.
But, they're all in their retirement phase now.
Sure.
Right? If they were England players, 25 to 30, that nice prime range, the vast majority of them are in England.
Yeah.
I mean, if they're good.
Yeah.
And so for me, I think that argument makes sense. I mean, you look at the golden generation and you think, okay, so Frank Lampard, John Terry, Chelsea, Rio Ferdinand, Wayne Rooney, David Beckham were at that point on Manchester United.
Yep.
I mean, two major rivals.
Yep.
You've got Steven Gerrard, who was at Liverpool. Oh, wait, he was in the U.S. too. That's right. He played in L.A. Him and Frank Lampard were the exact same position.
Yeah.
But everyone knew you can't have one or the other. You have to have both. So it screwed up the entire midfield.
Yeah.
Then you have Paul Scholes, Manchester United. I mean, you had a root of players who were easily the best in their position in the world. To this day, I don't think there's a midfielder better than Lampard, Gerrard, or Scholes. They all played the exact same position, basically.
That's the problem.
And they tried to get them all to fit at some point in time.
Couldn't do it.
And it didn't work. Ashley Cole, again, he was Arsenal then Chelsea. You just have a really solid core, and they all play for the top four teams.
Yep.
And those top four teams are massive rivals, not because they're a derby team necessarily, because they're just the top four and they're always challenging for the championship. I think there's probably some pretty good valid points in that argument.
Well, so come back to it. So they had a wealth of talent, couldn't put it all together. Now it's kind of passed them by. Yeah. Can their younger guys then get past that? Because they have, I don't know the names, but I know they have some really good younger players that, if they can work together, they could make a run.
I haven't paid close attention to their roster. I know that they released it a couple days ago.
But on the flip side of that, then if they're the greatest rivalry in MLS, there's not really any rivalries in MLS, then why can't our guys play better together? You know what I mean?
I think to step away from that England roster, I think the big issue with the United States is, one, coaching.
Yes.
I mean, who do we have for coaches? We had